વાત એ કહેવી હતી પહેલા કે આટલું સરસ ક્રાઉડ ભેગું કરવામાં મને ફક્ત એક અઠવાડિયું લાગ્યું. We decided last week that we want to have a pre-launch event. You all must be wondering why it's pre-launch, why it's not launch, right? We are going to launch the website tonight. Why we are still calling it pre-launch? Because we believe, I personally believe that all of you, I'm carefully picking and choosing all of you here for this event. I want all of you to become the first users of Crawded. The main reason behind that is either you are very friendly with technology, you are adopting all the technologies, and you are somewhere involved with the education. Either you are a student, either you are a teacher, or somewhere I have seen you teaching or learning. That's why you are here, and I welcome you once again. Before I move on to the story further, I have one small story to share here, right here, Masoom. So, અમારા એક મિત્રનો સન છે, એને લગભગ 2 વર્ષ પહેલા હું મળ્યો હતો અમારા મિત્ર. ધ રીઝન વોઝ કે એ સ્માર્ટફોન લઈને ગેમ રમ્યા કરતો હતો અને ઇન્ટરનેટ પર સર્ફિંગ કરતો હતો અને એ એના મોબાઈલનો ડેટા યુઝ થતો હતો. But carefully, if you look into it, that was not the problem that he was using the smartphone. He was playing game or he was using the internet. The problem was that his father was worried why he is not using it for his study purpose. Now, this is a real story I saw in my life, okay, 2 years ago. And it clicks that everywhere we see any kid, anywhere in our own house, our family, friends, we have the same story. Sometimes I feel they are born with this technological knowledge. A 2 or 3 year old can go on YouTube and play video whatever she wants, right? Now the biggest question we have is how they are going to utilize this technology that will actually help them in their education. Right now we don't have any option. We don't have any one place where you can ask your son or daughter to go, okay, that here is your smartphone, that's the internet. Go on this website and you should only be using this because that is going to help in your education. There are many ways, there are many possible ways I can tell you right now where all the people can use technology and that will definitely enhance your, enrich your educational experience. Every now and then we see many technological revolutions coming by. I'll give you some examples. We have Google, right? Everybody knows Google. Nobody knows internet. Go on Google. Nobody says go on internet, right? Why? Because Google is the answer to everything. You can go and ask Google anything, it will give you the answer. 20 years ago, if you wanted to do some research on any subject, you would have to go on a library, find a book and read it. Or find a person who has the knowledge of that particular subject. Now you don't need that. You can go on Google, find it. One click, milliseconds. Google usually shows you the time, milliseconds, right? That's awesome technology. How it is actually helping us? That's the biggest revolution. Google is the biggest revolution. How are we using Google in our schools, in the students' life? I recently met a kid. He's in 3rd or 4th grade, in right here in some school in Vidyanagar. He just came back from an examination. I said, okay, what was the subject? He said, computer engineering, computer science, or computer was a subject. I think it's a compulsory subject, right, from very beginning. And I see the questions. He was being asked who founded computer and who founded this language. Rather, he should be taught how to use Google. But we are not doing that, obviously. And I'm alone, I'm not capable of bringing that change into our education system. Okay, I cannot go and tell them that you should be asking, you should be teaching them how to use Google while he's in 3rd or 4th grade, right? But we are not doing that. Even though we have a revolutionary technology, we are not doing that. We have social media that changed everything. Facebook came, Twitter came along, and then many other social media platforms we use every day. Right now, if we are sitting idle, anybody sitting idle, you see them, what they are doing. They have a phone, something is going on there. Right? Earlier, if you wanted to socialize, you would have to actually go to someone's house or call them up. Right now you don't even have to do that. So we have this many good technologies, right? We have communication technologies. You don't have to wait for someone to pick up the phone. You can simply in a matter of seconds, you can talk to them face to face on your smartphones, right? We have all these technologies. Why we don't have any such thing that will bring that revolution in education? So I look around, there are so many problems with our own education system. I'll tell you a brief example. I've been reading an author, a technologist from US. His name is Mr. Peter Thiel. Just to give you a brief, he was the first investor of Facebook. He was the first person who believed that Facebook will work. Now we see how big is Facebook. So you can imagine that that person has some kind of capacity to predict. If Peter Thiel says that the education system in US needs overhaul, the education system in US needs overhaul. Let's just take a second and think about our own education system. Where do we stand right now? We don't need an overhaul, maybe we need to replace it, but we cannot do that. So our humble trial here is to bring some kind of technology that will help all the students and teachers and parents to use it for education purpose, for their study purpose, after school connections, right? That's where Crawded comes along. I'll give you a quick example where Crawded can be used. So let's take an example of a student, right? Because it's very obvious, we all have been students at some point in our life, right? So I go to school 9 to 5, perfect. I cannot challenge that model, right? I'm going to school. There is a fixed window of 35 minutes or 45 minutes per lecture, per period. They cannot break that because there are 7 subjects to teach, right? And they cannot teach everything in that 35 minutes because they have entire syllabus to cover. So what happens after school? Student has to go to some private tuitions. Private tuitions, my friend, is a luxury right now that not everyone can afford. We know that, right? It's costly. But practically, if I look at it from my point of view, a school and a private tuition, what's the difference? In school, you don't get to pick your teacher. In private tuition, you get to pick your teacher because you're paying. You went to school, you went to tuition, you are home, you are practicing something, and you realize I don't know this concept. Even though the teacher taught me in the school, I learned in the private tuition from my favorite teacher. I still didn't get it because I was a student, I was an average student. I was not a very smart student. I never got anything at the first time. Right? What would that student do? He will have to either wait for the next day, or you will have to call up a friend. Hey, I don't know this problem, can you help me? There's a high probability he doesn't know it either because he's in the same class. Right? He can go on Google and search that I don't know how to solve polynomials. Google will give you a million results. Now it's your job to find out which one is relevant to you. Even though Google is very good, let's say Google give you the right answer, you got the answer on Google. That's the technology we are using. Alright? What happens after that? You learned it. After 6 months, if you want to come back to it, what you do? You go on Google again. If tomorrow you want to see where exactly you found that problem solution, what are you going to do? The same thing. It's a circle, right? We are doing it every day. Let's say I want to share the solution which I received to my friend. What technologies we have right now? We can use the communication technology I just said. We can send them a link. We can WhatsApp them. It's free, right? It works. Now on WhatsApp, you don't just share those math links. You share jokes, you share videos, you share pictures and everything. And tomorrow if you lose your phone, boom, it's gone. Even though you shared, it's gone. Right? So students, once they leave the school, they don't have enough technology that can keep them connected to the school, keep them connected to their academics, their subjects, their teachers, their classmates. We don't have any such technology right now. I'll talk about the scenario of a teacher. My mother was a teacher. And I have many people in my friends and families who are teachers, right? Teacher is not a teacher from 9 to 5. He's a 24/7 teacher. He's always a teacher. He's teacher because he loves to teach. That's why he's a teacher. He has that limitation that, okay, you can only teach when you come to school. What happens if when he goes home, if the student had asked the same question that, sir, I don't know how to solve polynomials, and teacher helps him in the class, that's very good. Teacher goes home sitting on his sofa, he finds an interesting article or a YouTube video that explains what polynomials are or exactly any concept, right? Now at that 9 p.m. in the evening, a teacher wants to share that link to that student. What do you think he's going to do? Is he going to call him? Is he going to send him a WhatsApp message? That's not appropriate. Yeah, use Facebook. Yeah, Facebook is there, right? Mostly we have all our classmates, friends, and teachers. Do you think that teacher is going to share that polynomials formula on Facebook? That's funny, right? You cannot do that because you don't only have your teachers and students, you have your friends and families. You don't want to share your school stuff on Facebook. Even though it allows you, you technically you cannot do that. So there is this huge vacuum that once the student and teacher leaves the school, they get disconnected from their own world. So that's where we want to provide a solution using technology, and we hope that we can eventually democratize the education. We choose this word as our slogan, as our mantra, to democratize the education. So our goal behind Crawded is to bring democracy in the education. What it means to bring the democracy in the education is, no matter what's the background of the student, no matter how much money his parents have, no matter where he lives, no matter which school he goes, he should have all the resources available everywhere in the world on his palm, on his laptop. Right? That's our goal. And that's why we are starting here. So I invite all of you to become the first users of Crawded. That's why I'm calling this a pre-launch event. You all will be using Crawded exclusively for 2 months. After 2 months, I will be ready to launch it to the public, and anybody would be able to use Crawded publicly. But before that, I'm inviting all of you to join Crawded. You all are somewhere involved in the education. You all have friends, you all have students, children, right, teachers. So I invite all of you to use Crawded and become my brand ambassador. Help me democratize the education. I'm sure you all must be thinking that why Crawded.com is a private limited company. It's not an NGO. Why I'm doing this? It is free. I am never ever going to charge my user to use Crawded. I will figure out how to make money to run the business. I'll do that. I'm good at that. I'll do that. I promise I will never ever charge to my users to use Crawded. But just imagine if the 50 people right now here, if we start using Crawded, if we start sharing our own knowledge on Crawded, if we invite our friends to use Crawded, right? Eventually there should be a solution to one problem, which I saw a couple of years ago. Obviously, with my father-in-law, Mr. E.P. Desai sir, I was visiting a school in South Gujarat. It was so remote area. There was a very nice St. Xavier's, I think, right? The school. Okay. There was one class of 11th, one class of 12th. Both, I think, science and commerce. But it was so remote area that they did not have all the facilities we have in this urban environment. There was only one school in that area. Only those 3 teachers were living there to teach them, right? So just imagine, we have all the resources on hand. We have Google and we have private tuitions. We have private schools. If you don't like this school, you go to another school. What would those students be doing? What kind of future we are producing here with the lack of all these resources? Because anything, the future depends on these resources, on this manpower. And the manpower we are generating, they don't have enough resources to build their own future. That's a big problem we are trying to solve here. So I invite all of you to start using Crawded. Before I go ahead, I would like to invite Masu because he's the person who encouraged me. I saw him first time playing on those phones. His father is sitting right there. He was scolding this little guy, why are you using my phone? But now he can give him a phone and a good internet because he will not only play games, but when he comes home from his school, right, he will have all the resources, all the teachers, not only from his school, but from anywhere in the world that he can follow, learn and share, right. I present to you Crawded.com. ઘણી બધી વાત કરી કે મને કેમ આવો આઈડિયા આવ્યો ક્રાઉડેડનો અને I told you how we came to this point that we are ready to launch to public, and before that we want to try out on a limited people that we already know. You will use it, you will give me feedback, I'll improve on the system. So when we launch publicly, right, it can go as a huge success. Before we do that, I have some actual users who have been using Crawded for the past couple of weeks. So I'm going to present them. They will give you actual demo of how they are using Crawded and how it is helping for the past couple of weeks in their own studies. I'd like to invite Daivik Shukla. He's a student in 10th standard, studying in Knowledge High School. So I have been talking to many students. Any student that I can find my hands on, I'll ask him, what do you use? What do you use right now? That will help me envision what they actually like to use. So I can make a product much similar to that experience, right? So Daivik is one of the students. And he will show you exactly how he is using Crawded and before Crawded what he was using.
By looking at this post, anybody in the world could find it easy to solve any polynomial sum or anything that we post on the internet. So this is how I use Crawded for education. Thank you.
So Daivik, what he actually tried to do here is, traditionally he has been trying everything that he learns in the school at home. He makes those notes. And sometimes when he wants to share it with his friends, he will take a picture and share on a WhatsApp group. He has his own friends, he has his own group. So he would share it with them. But the limitations of WhatsApp or any other media, we all know that's not the education purpose. You don't use it exclusively for education, right? So now with Crawded, Daivik can follow many of these people that Crawded recommends. We have our software that will see how Daivik is using Crawded. Here are all the tags that Daivik is interested in. These are all the subjects he wants to learn eventually. So anybody who is teaching anything related to any of these subjects, Crawded will tell him, will recommend that you should follow any of these people. If he follows them, he will get to see all the contents shared by those people. Anybody who is following Daivik, most of his friends, they will see this post. This has never been possible, and you would never post any of such things on Facebook or Twitter. Right? Even though you have friends there, you wouldn't do that practically. I have one more user here. His name is Varun. He's a second year student in BVM. He's doing computer engineering. He's also a friend of mine, and he did an internship with me when I started this company 6 months ago. For 2 months, he worked on Crawded. He helped me build the mobile platform. Now he's already using Crawded with his limited group of people so that he can tell us what's his experience. Now he's going to share his experience using Crawded.
Good evening, everyone. As Mayur said, I am Varun, studying in second year of my undergraduate course at BVM College, and I am also very fond of learning beyond my course. That is, I like the topics of Android and different server-side programming like Python. So for some weeks I have been researching on the latest trend in Android, that is material design, and I found a good tutorial over it on a YouTube channel from SkyNerd. So I would like that no other person has to do this research completely again and can find it easily, so that their time would be saved and eventually they can be more productive. So what I do is just paste the YouTube link of that tutorials, add the appropriate tags, that is Android, and click post. So anyone who would be following me would see on the timeline that something related to material design has been posted by Varun, and they can find it easily. Thank you.
That's great. So we saw how a student in school can use Crawded. Now we see how a person will order from a school kid. He's an engineering student. He already knows a lot of technology, how he's going to use Crawded. Now I have one more case here. We are not forgetting teachers, because half of people here are teachers. I'm going to invite a teacher how she's going to use Crawded for a day-to-day purpose.
Hello friends, myself Aarti Jaipal. I'm a teacher teaching English language in a high secondary school. Besides being a teacher, I'm a mother. I have 2 kids, and my limitation is I know only the language. Then what about the other subjects that I do not know? My elder daughter studies in the 10th standard, and the younger one is the 5th standard. I do not know science. I do not know much about the maths. What should I do? I can do one more thing, and that will be provided only by the Crawded. I will just log in that, and whatever the question, whatever the thing I do not know, I will try to find out if someone has uploaded the thing. If I have any question, I will just put on the question and I will get the answer as soon as it possible. One more thing that I have taught in the classroom, sometimes it happens, many of the teachers are here, it happens that whatever you have taught in the classroom, we have the limited time. And in limited time, we cannot teach everything what we really want to teach to the students, because we have only 35 minutes or the 40 minutes. So what is the option for that? Here is the option. Go home, just log into the Crawded.com, and whatever you think is needed for the student, I want to share with my students, because this is the important part of my language. Not only the grammar that is taught in the classroom is important, but he wants to impress the people by his language. These are the important part. And that will be done only by the teacher, being a teacher at home, not only in the classroom. So thing I would like to show you is that there is a question I will post, and the person who is there on the Crawded would be able to see that question on his timeline. I have kept a question here. But after that, I will just tag and post the question, and the question will be posted over here.
So right now this computer is logged in as David Shukla. He's a student and he's following Miss Aarti as a teacher. So he will get to know everything that she has been sharing. Now being a teacher, she not only shares her knowledge or some hints or some ideas, right? She's also posting questions. She posts questions that all the students, they follow her, they can try those questions online right now. So because David is following her, David will see the question that she has just posted. Now, possibilities here are limitless. Because you don't have one question, you don't do this one time, you do it every day. And we will try to keep the experience of the website very easy and very familiar to your own social networks that you all use every day. So at this moment I see this point of time, if any of you have any questions, anything that I may have not made clear. I expected that. I expected that.
Why the name is Crawded?
You caught me. So the word crowded comes in the combination of two words, crowd and education. Okay. So what is crowd and what is education? So we try to do crowd-sourced education. I'll give you an example. If most of you know Wikipedia. Wikipedia, anything you will find on Wikipedia. Wikipedia is crowd-sourced portal. What does it mean? There is not one person contributing to that content. Being crowd, everyone from the world, anyone should be able to contribute. Then it becomes crowdsourced. Right. So my idea was to crowdsource the education. Why should I only have a limit of one teacher or two teacher or three teacher, right? When there are thousands of teachers and we have a lot of good technology, why can't we merge them? So the idea was to crowdsource the education system. So I made the word of crowd and ed, but I didn't like that O, so I made it CRAWD. That's the name Crawded. For the next 2 months, only the people who are present in this room right now would be able to use Crawded exclusively. And if you use and if you like it, you can invite few more people to use Crawded. You go on your profile, there is an option where you can enter the phone number or email address of some more people, and you can invite your friends or your colleagues, maybe your students, to use Crawded. So for next 2 months, exclusively you would be able to use Crawded. You can use this invite code to sign up on Crawded. Now we have all these volunteers and we have all these laptops here. Okay. So I invite all of you to try your hands on Crawded. We have heard a lot, I have told a lot. I would really like all of you to sign up right now and see how it feels. If you get any questions, anybody wearing that C t-shirt, you can ask anyone any question about Crawded. We have one of our guests here, Dr. Mayur Macwan. He has this question, that is there a mechanism to avoid any kind of bad post on Crawded? Because our concern is to keep this exclusive for education purpose. Now if people start posting videos of movies and different things, right? What we are going to do is, we are going to allow our own users. So if you see anything that is not related to education, on that corner there will be a question mark. You can click on that and you can report it as a spam. We have our own engines behind it, we have our own software that is self-learning. Right? So as people start using, eventually it will learn itself. So if someone posts a video of a movie, it will automatically delete that. But spam is something that cannot be automatically detected 100%, right? So we are allowing all of the users on the corner of any post, you can click and you can report it as spam, so that it will come to us as a monitor. We will see if it's really spam, we will delete it. Right? We will try to keep it as clean and as exclusive for education as possible. That's a great question though. Thank you very much everyone. And let's get started on this.